I'm Tanya, and this is Bible Study Planet. Today I'd like to talk to you about making some scripture cards like the ones I'm showing you on the screen. These are something you can read, you can flip them over and write, and you can prop them around the house so that you can memorize them. This was not my idea. This was Savannah from the S Factor Studio, and here's a screenshot of her YouTube channel. Here are a couple of cards that I went ahead and made last night just to see how they worked out. Now, I didn't care for the glitter on this one. Um, you see that it comes off, even though she gives a method to keep it from coming off, so I'm going to try that again. But those were the two that I made up. And on the back, she puts a note card. And she didn't have a measurement on there, although if I had looked, she did have measurements on her tabletop. I'm going to give you a screenshot now of what I think the measurements should be. Because if you cut your cardstock and then you do your note card on the back and then you fold the edges of your paper over, you have a really nice little thing that you could give someone. Um, so I went over the cards already with some gesso, but here I'm putting some gesso, on as like a final coat. I didn't feel it was necessary to put them over the verses, but just over the parts where I had painted and glittered. I'm using one set was these ones on this beige paper were already printed out. They were on lightweight cardstock. And the other set is on Bible Study Planet. Let me grab you the exact name of the article. It was an article of beautiful verses for women. Just beautiful and inspiring Bible verses for women. So the ones with the colored frame around them are from there, and it's a free download. Just go over there and download those verses if you'd like to have them. Two cards aside, and here's some cardstock that I'm going to use for the base for the cards I'm getting ready to make. If you want to grab some cards and make them alongside me, you could cut yours to about 3x5 if you have 3x5 note cards. Here are some of the verses I'm going to be using. And here are some papers, just some scraps are fine for this sort of project. I found some stickers in my box. I'm going to tell you in a little bit why I'm so hard up for things to use for my projects. But these are cute and they kind of match what I'm thinking of. And I have a whole bunch of stencils, mostly for bullet journals, but there's something I'll be able to use. As any to tell you my story about why I have almost no craft supplies. My husband is the kindest man in the world, but some of you are going to understand when I say he doesn't get it about the craft things. So I have a room full of pet birds and I have a room full of craft supplies, and he's sort of at his wit's end. So he asked me to cut back and only do a couple of artistic endeavors. So I said, okay, and I sold most of my card making and stamping and all those. He thinks all those are different activities. He doesn't understand they all go together. So I've gotten rid of a lot of things. So right now I'm just trying to work with what I have. He probably knew I wasn't going to do this forever. So Anyway, so here I'm just folding the paper back. This would be the best scenario. You're going to see me make some that the cover paper is too short to really fold nicely around the cardstock. That's not a good idea. So be sure and use the measurements that I gave you, or if you have bigger cards, you need to size it up a little bit so that it folds nicely around your piece of cardstock. That's why I always make a couple ahead of time to see what I'm going to do wrong. I think this is out of the screen a little bit, but it's going to straighten up in a minute. This is the thick Aleene's glue that I'm using, and then I switch later to the glitter glue, some sort of glitter glue, which is thin. It's too thin. So if I were to mix them together, we'd be fine, but that's not what happened. What I mostly did was glue down a piece of decorative paper, either up and down or going across. And then I put the verse going across that. I think it adds a good textural element to have papers going different ways on these. And then I added something like a punch out flower or a heart. I did forget to use the stencils. That would have been nice to use acrylic paint and the stencils. I have a few chipboard buttons that I put on also. You see one here. Once you have completed all of your cards, you're going to want to get out a crocodile and attach some rivets. You'll need to punch some holes and attach rivets. I did one on the narrow side and I did one on the long side. The one on the narrow side will be so that all the cards can be slid onto a ring, and the one on the wider side is just to use some jump rings and attach some charms. here are my completed cards. These are the ones with the original scripture cards that I had, and these are the ones you can download. And it's not all of them, I just did some. And they've all got the little charms on them now. I did have to go back now. Don't do what I did. I thought, oh, I shouldn't punch this hole too close to the edge. Well, if you come away from the edge, you need a bigger jump ring. So I ended up having to make my own jump rings out of some wire. So try not to do that. And I apologize for this video. Bits of the video and the audio portions have both disappeared. I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, there are the cards, and I hope you enjoy making them. Have a great day.